Well, yeah, sit here just fine till I hit the go live button. Didn't work on the computer again, so back on the phone. Gotta love it. Title of today's message is Every Time I Turn Around. Hello, Robert, Ash, April, Lisa, Logan, Travis, Graham. Good to see y'all. Maybe this will all settle down. Look at him. Gail's done made me a rice pack for my shoulder this morning. She take that thing and throw it in the microwave, put the rice, she sews it together and puts the rice in it and throws it in the microwave and then takes it out and then it puts moist heat right where I need it, which is up here on my shoulder. And my shoulder's giving me a fit this morning. Hello, he's my hope, Isaac. Logan, good to see you. They good for an earache too, boys. I mean to tell you they are. Hello, Terry. Just gets that heat right in there, right where it needs to be. My wife used to make them and sell them. She called them jam pads, joint and muscle pads. And she would take and put things like tea tree oil in the rice or lavender in the rice or whatever. Tea tree oil would speed up the blood flow, and lavender would naturally relax you and calm you and stuff like that. And she used to put that in there so that it didn't just smell like you had a pot of hot rice sitting on your shoulder. But yeah, she used to make and sell these. We sold quite a few sets. There was the ones that's this size, and then there was she had some little oval ones that they was very little, very small, very small. And you throw them in the microwave, two of them at a time, and take them out and stick them in your pocket. And then you had hand warmers. If you worked outside, you could put your hands in your pockets. Your pockets would stay warm for 2 or 3 hours. So you could stick your hands down in there and get your hands all nice and warm. And then she had a bigger one that was for the belly and the back, and then she had the ones that was this size for elbows, shoulders, and knees. But yeah, she used to do that. It does help some. I can't stand much weight on that shoulder, but I get some heat on it and it makes it feel better, and then I go and do what I got to do. Hello, Van Cleef. Monitor the Gangster. Terry. Travis. I want to make certain that I did. We're going to go ahead and get started here with this morning. This is going to be one of the I guess one of the hardest that I've had to preach in a long time. But we're going to first cover the easy section. You know, all the time I get these emails from folks and emails and messages, and they're grumbling and they're complaining. Well, look at there. Hello? I hear things like, every time I turn around, I hit a brick wall. Every road I take is just a dead end. I try to walk, but I fall and I get hurt. You know something? For every single excuse you've got, God's got a counter offer for it. Every time I turn around, I hit a brick wall. Well, learn how to make a door. Learn how to open a window. Every road I take is a dead end. You serve a God that's got a bulldozer that can make that road go right on through. Every walk I take, I fall and get hurt. Learn how to crawl. Learn how to pull yourself back up. Learn how to stand up with the Word of God. For every single excuse you make, God's got a counter. For every failure that you suffer, God has forgiveness. For every gaffe that you make, every misspeak, God has grace to cover it. You've got to be willing to do a little bit of the work. See, that's the problem with most Christians today, is they've turned into what I call welfare Christians. They're these Christians that won't sit around all day, do absolutely nothing, and want God to do everything for them. Oh, Garrett, oh, Coonsy, Minister and the Gangster. They want God to do everything. Well, God, you can fix this. God, you can fix that. God, you can do this. Sure he can. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do to earn it? What are you going to do to deserve it? What are you going to do about the situation that you're in? Now I realize I am always preaching, let God handle it. And I mean that. Let God handle it. That don't mean sit on your P's and Q's and do nothing. In order to trust God, you've got to give it to God. Well, Brother Cecil, I just, every move I make a mistake and things just get worse. Stop moving. Pray. That is still proactive. Pray. But lamenting over, oh God, why is it this way? Ain't getting you nowhere. It ain't getting you nowhere. Let me say it again. It ain't getting you nowhere. December the 19th, in the year of 2000, my life changed. We're coming up on that time, and we're coming up on Christmas. Hey, Carol, but we're coming up on that date real quick. See, I had a real good friend. We had been friends for a little over a year, and this friend of mine, her and her family were being mistreated. Her and her children were being mistreated something fierce. Her husband was constantly berating her. He would use her as collateral in bets, things like a pool game. If I lose to you at pool, you can go have sex with my wife. And he would make her pay. The children were being neglected. The boy was being abused, being beat with a paddle. And his friend come to me, and she said, I don't know what to do. I'm at my wit's end. I said, well, you got to get out of there. You got to get someplace. You got to get out of there. You got to find somewhere you can be where you and your children are safe. She said, there's no such place like that. I said, yes, there is. She said, where? I said, my house. She said, people will talk. I said, I don't care what people got to say. You need to be safe. We're friends. December the 19th of 2000, at 10:08 in the morning, there came a knock at my door. I opened my apartment door, and there stood my friend and her 3 kids. And she said, we've left. He jumped on me and attacked me last night and beat me in front of the kids. And I had to go. I couldn't take it no more. I said, you come on in here. Now, mind you, this is 6 days before Christmas. This woman come in, and her and her kids, and I didn't even have a Christmas tree. I went and got busy and got a Christmas tree, and I talked to some friends and wound up making a big Christmas for the kids and for the woman. Big Christmas. I wound up with the greatest gift of all. That day, and in those coming weeks. See, December the 19th is the day that me and Kate and Gail and Ayana and Ian all became a family. We were friends. That's all we were. And on August the 13th of the following year, she and I stood before a judge and we got married. And thick or thin, flush or fold, we were together. Until the day that God called her home. I was her husband. I was a father to her children. She was a mother to children that we had together. And she was my everything. My everything. And when God took her home, I was very upset, understandably. And I didn't want to talk to him anymore. Because 18 years wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, so just bear with me. I could have made all kinds of excuses as to why my life had become too miserable or too broken to do what God asked me to do. But instead, I decided I'd turn to Him. You know, in my darkest hour, as 3 or 4 days leading up to the funeral when my wife died, and people brought a lot of food to the house, and we had 2 refrigerators completely full of food. People were there. Oh, brother, if you need anything, just let us know. Oh, if we can be there for you as a shoulder for you to lean on, a shoulder for you to cry on, you just let us know. All the platitudes, I'm sure you've heard them. If you've lost anybody in your family, you've heard them. But at the end of the funeral, when me and the kids went home, that evening a few more people stopped by. And then the next day, the day after the funeral, there was nobody there, just me and the kids. And the next day, nobody there, just me and the kids. The hurt didn't go away because the funeral was over. The need for assistance didn't go away just because the service had ended. And people who had said, brother, if you need to talk, I'm right there. I picked up the phone and I called them, and they did not have time for me. And I'm going somewhere with this now. They didn't have time to talk to me. They had their own life. They had their own wife. They had their own children, their grandchildren, their jobs that they needed to see to. They didn't have time to fool with me. Even my own pastor didn't have time to talk to me. And that really hurt. Because he had been a friend for 30 years. I helped him get started in church. I helped him get his church started. And that really hurt. And it's like I was just being kicked from every possible direction. And when I wanted to throw my hands up and quit, I could hear the voice of my wife whispering in my ear saying, "Now's the time that you've got to knuckle down." Now is the time that you've got to push through. Hey, Gail,
Yes, what can I do for you?
where are we standing on that food?
I was going to make it in 30 seconds.
But don't give up. Hang on. Keep pressing. Keep trying. Keep reaching. I could hear my wife cheering me on. She wasn't really there, but I could hear it. And I turned to the one who has never failed me. I turned to the one that has a solution to every single excuse that I can make. And I told him, I says, "God, I'm beyond broken. I'm shattered. I've got kids that I've got to raise and look after. I need your help. I don't know what else to do. I need you to put me back together for my children, for my grandchildren. God, I need you more now than I've ever needed you before." And you know what? God was right there. And he lifted me up from the muck and the mire of grief and depression and even suicide. And he set my feet on solid ground. And he pointed me in the direction that I needed to go. And I've been walking in that direction ever since. No, the pain of losing my wife has not gone away. The ache of wanting her with me has not diminished. But the fact of knowing, oh, as we approach this Christmas season, the fact of knowing that she is with the one that we're celebrating, that makes everything that I have to go through here worthwhile. Every tear I cry, every gallon of snot I blow out of my nose, every sleepless night that I search for her in the bed, it's all worth it. Because I know where she is. I know who she's with. Oh, and hallelujah. I know soon and very soon I'll be there too. And so will y'all. You know, we've often said how good it'd be for us all of us that's in this chat to be able to sit around that welcome table and enjoy one another's company face to face. But I really just want to introduce y'all to my wife. I really just want to introduce you to the beautiful woman who put my feet back on the path to God. And no matter how bad things got, wouldn't let me get off of it. See, God knew what I needed, and He knew when I needed it. God knew exactly what I needed when I needed it. And when I tried to throw in the towel when my wife died, I am so thankful that God said, I'm not ending the match just because you threw in a towel. You get yourself in this ring and you pick it up. You blow your nose, wipe your tears. It's time to go to work. Her death ain't the end of you. It's the beginning of what you have to do for me. Her passing from your life and your time into my time doesn't stop your time. The stopwatch is on you, Jack, and the clock's ticking. And you need to get to work, and you need to be about my business and let me tend to everything else. And you know what, church? Since I handed it all to Him and started being about His business, He has handled everything else. Last night, the pain in my side was so intense, and I had a spasm that kept hitting me in the back that wouldn't quit. I called Gail and got her to me, and I told her, I said, look here, you're going to have to rub this spasm out of my back, or you're going to have to leave out of this room while I end it, because I can't stand this pain anymore. And she laid her hands on my back, and she started rubbing, and I could hear her praying. Gail's not one much for praying, but I could hear her praying. And that spasm started easing, and I was able to lay down and go to sleep. God was right there. It don't matter what excuse you come up with, God's got a solution to your excuse. God has an excavator for the mountain that's in front of you. God has a semi truck ready to pull the load that you've got. God has a bulldozer and a road grader and a shovel and a pan and a hoe and chainsaws and stump grinders and everything else to cut your path. Stop stomping. Stop allowing the devil to whip you where you stand. You know, there's a Ronnie Millsap song that fits this. It goes, crack of dawn, I hit the road, set my shoulder for the heavy load, coffee leaking through the paper sack. The foreman says I'm late again. He can't stand it when I only grin. He's got me 8 hours. God's got me after that. Tomorrow it's the same old grind, but it shall be burning in my mind. And it goes on about how his wife keeps the home fire burning. But in my life, it's God that keeps that home fire burning. He keeps the home fires burning while I'm out earning, living in a world that's known for the pouring rain. And it's His sweet loving that keeps me returning again and again. Because it don't matter how big of a mistake I make, God's right there with His grace ready to cover it. It don't matter how bad I am, God's right there to take me back. God's right there to love me and to care for me. God's right there to forgive me. Jesus' blood is sufficient to cover the sins. He's right there. I know I sit here in front of you this morning and a lot of you look at me with pity, and I wish that you wouldn't. Because I'm not a broken man. I'm not broken. I'm not even cracked or shattered. I'm repaired. I'm not good as new. None of us are. I've got a few years on me now. But I sit before you this morning and I weep, not for the loss of my wife, not for the heartache of missing her, but because I know that I am unworthy of the sacrifice that Jesus made on Calvary's cross. And I know that you're unworthy. But I know that in our eyes we may be unworthy, but in God's eyes, we're the only things that matter. In God's eyes, We are more than worthy. In God's eyes, we're entitled. No, it's not easy. Being a Christian. It's easy to serve God, but it's not easy facing the world. It's not easy standing up to your friends or your family. It's not easy putting your hand to the plow and going forward and never looking back. It's not easy. But God never promised us a rose garden, you see. He told us that it rains on the just and the unjust. I'm okay with that. Guys, it doesn't matter what excuse you've got. God's got a plan for you. And you need to let God's will work in your life. That's something I had to do. And I had to do it at an awful time in my life. You've got to learn to allow God to work through you. You've got to let Him take the hard times that you've got and forge you in. You've got to let these hard times melt you so that God can hammer you and make you stronger and turn you into the sword He needs you to be. You can't become a sword without being forged. You really can't. You can't be a sword without being forged. Guys, I love each and every one of you. I really do. If you haven't given the video a thumbs up, please do so. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, now'd be a good time to do that. Hit the little bell icon, click on, you'll be notified when I go live or upload videos. I won't be on here tomorrow. I got to go to the surgeon in the morning. So I won't be on here tomorrow. I'll be back Wednesday. I will not be taking your emails or your messages tomorrow. Save them. My life is worth more than answering your emails as I ride down the road. I love each and every one of you. That's a fact. And I pray that God will lead you through the hard times in your life. And I ask that you continue to pray for me. If super chats came in, I didn't see any, but if they did, thank you. That's how we eat. If you'd like to continue to support the ministry and my family, how to do so is down in the description of every video. I'm not going through it today. But I'll see y'all Wednesday. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Love y'all. Bye now.